In our last video, we finished planning the bathroom project as a whole, and we even got to work on some of the plastering. Now we want to go ahead and install a brand new window and move on to some of the tiling and the grouting work. Next thing on the list is to get this window installed. Doesn't look too bad as it is, but as you can see, it's only held into place by these screws. This window will lift right out. When you go to purchase a new window from a home improvement store, there are two main types of windows that you can buy. One is the type of window that has a nailing fin around the outside. These are mostly meant for new construction homes where you will be able to take this flange, push it against the exterior surface of the house, and nail it into that. If you were to try to use this on an older remodel, you would at the very least have to remove the outside window trim. We are going to use a different type of window. Replacement windows are meant to be used on projects where you will not be removing the exterior trim. They are used in renovations of older homes. That's what we will be using on this project. The first thing we're going to do here is wrap the sill with this flashing tape. That's just in case if any water does get in and leak through, it won't rust on the bottom or get into the wall. It'll still drain out over the sill and outside. Gonna put caulking, 100% silicone, all around the three sides of the window. Push it into place and then go outside to smooth out any caulk that might have pushed through and be visible from the outside. Got the first piece on the bottom. I'm gonna extend these a little bit up the sides and then overlap them down over on top of this. So bottom piece on first, then the sides overlapping for positive drainage. Now this is really convenient. We can just step right out through the window and get outside here, and you can see it's got a little bit of a problem with the caulking on the outside of the window. So I think what we're gonna do to fix that is use this OSI Quad Clear. It's an excellent outdoor caulking product, and it can be applied anywhere from 20 degrees Fahrenheit up to like 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So we can even do it this time of year out there. And there we go. That's how it looks. It goes on clear, but that stuff is paintable, believe it or not. We could probably even use that OSI Quad Clear product for around the window here, but I think we're just going to go with your standard 100% silicone white window and door caulk. All right, now with that caulk on there, we got to keep moving. We're going to set this window in place, then screw it into place through the sides of the window into the frame. All right, it's screwed in tight now. I don't know if you can see that. But now we got to go outside and finish the caulking from that part. We can't just step outside the window anymore, so I'm going to have to go around and get my feet muddy a little bit. I just caulked around the window on the outside. I didn't film it because it's getting a little dark out there. Now it's time to seal this up with some great stuff. Now this is pretty messy stuff and it expands a lot, so I want to be careful with it. All right, we've sealed off everywhere we can with the foam sealant now. Just about ready to go. Kind of hard to see in over here, but there is some foam in there. Thing is, there are some gaps that are actually too thin for the nozzle to even fit. So for those, we're going to have to just finish by caulking. Start getting this trimmed out here. We're going to take this piece that we have prepared already and put it right here. We're going to have to tap it in place with the hammer because we fit it pretty tight. The other part that needs to be finished is around the tub tiling. It has this unfinished edge. What we're going to do is add a finished bullnose tile, which just refers to this finished rounded edge right here. There are quite a few different ways to cut tiles, including some hand cutters that are probably the cheapest option, and to be honest, in this case, would probably be good enough. But I have a wet saw and that's how I'm used to cutting them, so that's what we're going to use right here. Now I would normally set this up out in my backyard, but it's getting really cold outside, so we're going to do it in the basement. Alright, so I'm going to admit it took me about 15 minutes and several cuts on the wet saw to get this right. But now that it's good, when I'm holding them together, I'm just going to use it to draw a line right here, which I already did at the bottom of this tile. And I'll use that to put in a temporary support block. Alright, first couple are on right here. Rough fit into place. I actually think that's about right. Starting to put the mortar on back here, and I've been using an actual piece of tile just to scrape along and get about the right amount of mortar behind it. And here we go. We are done with all of the top tiles. It is getting late, but we can put a few more on our backsplash while we still have the mortar. So the first piece we're going to try putting in is this little one and the one on this side. Finished our whole row of bullnose tile all the way down until the tub, but now what? Now we need to make a curved cut for our next piece. I'm going to show you how we can trace the contour of this bathtub and make that curved cut using our wet saw. What we're going to do is just hold the tile up against the wall like this. We have a little piece of wood that we push up against the tub, and then we take our pen on one corner of it and we just trace our line as we move it along the tub. Right? I'm not actually making the mark right now because I'll do that on a piece of paper first. So how long do we make this tracer block right here? Well, because we put the tile exactly one tile width out to the left from where it will end up, this should be the same width as one tile. So at the beginning, we wouldn't cut off anything, and the amounts we'll cut off later depend on how far the tubs stick out from that. But I'm going to trace it on this piece of paper right here first. Then once we have the line, we'll just cut it out with the scissors and see if it fits. All right, so let me just show you how this turned out. My first one looked like this. And when I put it in place, I don't know if you can see that, it touches right here. So there needs to be some taken off of this. Also, it doesn't leave any room for grout lines. So I have to make a little bit of an adjustment here. And I did that on my second cutout. And now this one goes into place nicely. So I'm going to take this and trace it right on top of one of these tiles and then cut that out with the wet saw. All right, let's go down into the basement here. And I want to show you one thing. When we're making this type of a cut on the wet saw, you have to do it in kind of a special way. I just took a piece of scrap tile here to show you, and I drew a line on the front and on the back just to demonstrate what happens here. Because this is a circular blade, if we just push it in and start cutting, it's going to cut further through the top than it does on the bottom. So notice I cut right up to the line, but in the back it didn't even start going through. That's why when we're doing one of these cuts, we're going to have to feed it in at an angle so that it enters perpendicular to the blade. One more thing to show you about these diamond blades. We have about 1/4 inch of this blade that actually has diamond on it. And if you gently go back and forth here, you can shave little bits off of the tile. I'll quick show you how that works. To finish this off nicely, I was surprised. I just took a little bit of this 120 grit paper and lightly sanded at this corner. Now don't go over the surface because you'll scratch the porcelain, but it really did a nice job taking some of those fine saw markings out of this corner and making it look like a super smooth edge. Now the teeth you're seeing are left in the back here. They're not visible from the front, so that's not going to be a problem.